What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, first modifications for the 2023 XSR900. For those that missed it, this is not my motorcycle. This is a very close friend's motorcycle. This bike is just kind of having a temporary stay here with me until he figures out his storage stuff or whatever. But today we'll be installing the TST Industries tail tidy on the XSR900. So let's go ahead and check it out. We'll do some weights, short tutorial, try to keep it very brief. Obviously, this is a pretty straightforward and easy modification, so don't want to make the video too long, but let's go ahead and get into it. Here's the stock license plate bracket here. We see the reflectors, we see the turn indicators, integrated tail light, and so forth. We will be weighing all this, so hopefully by the time we're done, we shaved a few pounds off this motorcycle. But as you can see here, it looks like this is probably pretty heavy, but again, we'll get some exact weights here in just a moment. This is the packaging for the TST Industries tail tidy for the 2023 XSR900. It's your part number here. And there's our license plate bracket. It's kind of like a under tray bracket. It's pretty clean how it works. So this bracket here, there's actually a recess for it. And there's also a recess for the wiring as well. Comes with stainless fasteners. You see here, these fasteners as well, stainless, and they're also locking nuts. License plate light, this is extra. This is about another $15 extra. And this bracket here, this is also extra. This is an additional $15. And this is if you want to use the original OEM LED turn indicators. But again, part number here, this is what it'll come with. First step is to go ahead and remove this steel bracket here. It's a 5mm Allen, and they're not super tight. Once you get that bracket off, you'll have to remove some of these plugs here. It's gonna be this one, and this one here. It seems like at least at this point you can leave that one. Once you have all your electrical connections removed and disconnected, just a note, be careful with these. They are, if you look close, they're actually snapped into this plastic piece as well. So if you pry too hard on it, you can easily break them. So be very careful here. We're gonna feed this loom through that hole there, but once you get to this stage, you're gonna remove that one, that one, that one, that one, all 10mm. Once you have these most rearward nuts removed, you can actually take the tail light and kind of flip it over almost on top of the battery there, so that way it's out of the way. Once all 4 of those 10mm nuts are removed, the entire license plate bracket will drop. Again, be very careful when you're feeding your connections through. You're gonna feed it through this here. There's a small bracket. This was actually sitting on, it's kind of sitting on top like this. You are gonna reuse this. There's also a plastic clip here as well. From what I understand, that this will not be reused. So this will need to be removed and not reused. And the complete bracket assembly looks like this. We'll get some weights on it once we figure out what exactly is gonna be reused on the new tail tidy as opposed to the original. We're gonna remove the OEM turn indicators, and the way you do that, I'm gonna remove these 5mm Allens here. Warning, these are super tight. And then you need to remove these 4 Phillips head screws here as well. Once those Phillips screws are removed and those Allen keys are removed, the license plate bracket, it basically just self-destructs. It just comes apart completely. So you have to remove the wiring for each one of these turn indicators. It's a little keeper here. Once you look at them closely, you can kind of tell how they work, but you just kind of remove that keeper there by peeling away this rubber piece, right? And that will release your turn indicator. Also, quick note, there's a rubber spacer here as well, and we're actually gonna delete that on the new license plate bracket. Here's the OEM license plate bracket, reflectors, etc., and fasteners on the scale. Of course, we're at 2 pounds, 15.6 ounces. If you notice, the reflectors are absent here, and that's because we are going to be reusing those. So all the parts you see on this scale, including the fasteners, they're all parts that you will not be reusing with the TST Industries tail tidy. Here's the TST Industries kit. On the scale here, we see 13.5 ounces. You'll notice the license plate light is not on the scale at the moment. At this time, we're gonna go ahead and forego that license plate light just because it looks like it's a nice piece, but we didn't wanna splice the wires at this point. Later on, if we kind of find that the tail light doesn't offer enough illumination, we'll go ahead and add this. But for now, we are not going to use this license plate light. So without it, 13.5 ounces. With it, yeah, 14.6. So it looks like you're gonna lose about 2 pounds going to the TST industry setup. So we're starting to assemble the rear bracket here. As far as the indicators go, really self-explanatory. They basically go back in the same way you took them off the OEM bracket. So you just have that plastic keeper, and the rubber piece kind of just slides into the bracket. What we found made it a little bit easier is if you start on the narrower end first, slide that into the bracket, and then go ahead and slide the fatter or wider end in last. You'll notice here on the fatter end, it actually has a split in it, and that's kind of what allows it to get into the bracket there. Another thing to note, if you're running the OEM signal light bracket, you have to use the longer fasteners here. So the kit will come with both of these here. You will use the longer fastener to account for this thicker bracket. So we have our assembly all completed here. You can kind of see how it goes together. We have it pretty loose just so we can adjust everything later. This is just kind of a mock-up, but you can see how the wires are supposed to fit in the channel and so forth. But this is basically the completed assembly. You can see here how we're running the wires back into the subframe there. Right, pretty much common sense, pretty straightforward. We've got our assembly all back together. So you can see our indicators, our license plate bracket, tail lights back on. All this hardware here, this stainless hardware, this is all provided by TST. So just a note, the longer, they're gonna give you some shorter screws. I think they're supposed to be 12 mil and some longer ones. The longer ones go in the back. And the reason for that is these longer fasteners are to account for the tail light bracket. And there's like this little, it's hard to see. There's this little bracket here. It actually has little bumpers on it, has little stops on it to kind of cushion this action here that you're seeing from the tail light. So yeah, just remember, longer screws in the back, shorter ones in the front. There we go, guys, all assembled, indicator lights on, tail lights on, function check, everything's working. Don't forget to put this bracket back with the factory 5 mil Allens there. But nice thing is, the connectors here, obviously the wire is going to be very, very long because factory, the plate was like all the way out here. The indicators were like past the tire, right? As required by our laws. So, but the nice thing is the extra wire length, it tucks in perfectly kind of in this area here, right where your Euro 5 OBD port is. So it ended up working out perfect. Still looks super clean, doesn't look aftermarket. All back together. There's the final product. You can see the tail is much cleaner, but it still looks OEM, right? You see some of the tail tidies out there, they look really aftermarket, which is okay. That's the look some people are going for. I really like this one. Looks OEM. I think part of it's because we're using the OEM turn indicators, but just a small note too. Remember that rubber spacer that I mentioned earlier? That's all been removed. So it fits a little bit tighter against the center of the bike. And if you look here, you can see the TST logo on the aluminum plate. It's just a really nice OEM looking piece. It's much, much tighter. Again, we lost a little over 2 pounds as well, but overall, very, very high quality piece. There you have it, guys. First modification done to the 2023 XSR900. Overall, super happy with the TST Industries tail tidy kit. Very high quality, fit really nice. The fasteners were really nice. Not hard to put on. It's very easy to reincorporate the factory wiring and everything. It's just it's a very nice kit, and it's not super expensive either. Shipping was fast, no complaints at all. So highly recommend this modification if you have a second generation XSR900. So there we go, guys. First modification of many for the XSR900. A lot more on the way. Planning exhaust, tune, clip-ons, some other small things as well. So please stay tuned for that. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. As always, very, very much appreciate any support that you guys have. Like, comment, subscribe. Super, super appreciate that. And we'll see you guys next time.